lo putalari tali palaman. What's up, real MVPs? What's up, Bulls fans? And I can finally do it after a long time. It's been a long time since I've seen your faces. I'll be completely honest. A lot's been going on in my life. Thanksgiving was rough. Post-Thanksgiving has been rough. I'm just glad I've had the time to do another one of these Bulls reactions to talk to you, to get away from real life, but at the same time, getting away into the Bulls topics really make you sad sometimes. But this is a game where I finally get to do it. Da Bulls, and the Bulls get a win over the Sacramento Kings. What was the score? 113-106. And as you can tell by the intro to this video, as you can tell by the topic down below, the little title that I put by it, I am happy. Like, I'm going to be honest. I almost said, I'm happier than a pig in slop, but you know what? I'm just happy. I'm happy that Lauri Markkanen had a good game. And I know what many are thinking is that Ricky, don't get used to it. Lauri's just going to go back to his old self in the next game, but it was nice he's the one I want to start with. But before we get into him, make sure to check out patreon.com/mostvaluedpodcast. That's how you guys can help support the channel. $1, $5, or $10 tiers. That link down below in the description. But I wanted to start out with Lauri Markkanen because it was nice to see him do the things that we have not. He was hitting from three. I believe he went, 4 of 8 in the game from three. 20 points overall. That's fine and dandy, but it's how he got those 20. Of course, 4 of them off of threes, some of them some big threes, but also there were times in this game where he was actually attacking the basket. There was times where he was attacking the basket. There was also times where Chris Dunn saw, hey, there's a mismatch down there with Lauri on a little guy. Let me throw it up to Lauri Markkanen. Oh, Yogi Ferrell's on Lauri Markkanen. Let me throw it down there to him. Let me throw it up so he can go get it, either put the ball in the basket or get fouled, go to the line. And the latter is exactly what happened on the play that I'm thinking of. It was just nice to see, even if it's just one game, even if it's just a fleeting memory after this. It was nice to see one game of Lauri be the guy we expected him to be. I hope he can get this going. The Bulls in their next few games, we've got the Grizzlies coming up. We've got the Warriors coming up, which I know that Warrior game, I harped on him on the fast break because he was my biggest disappointment. That was another thing. Calling out Lauri on the fast break, calling him the biggest disappointment, seeing this game, I love to see that. Let me call you out more so you show up for games. But the Grizzlies coming up, I want to see this going forward against the Warriors because he didn't have a good night against the Warriors the first time and kind of let Eric Pascal, I almost said Pascal Siakam, Eric Pascal kind of have his way with him in that game. It was just nice to see Lauri doing something good. On the other hand, in this game, I had a thought that Dave had asked me not too long ago about this season is, do you think that we could just start the second unit for one game? Just start the second unit. Go out there and really, I almost said a mod, like as I was thinking about this during the game, I'm like, a modified unit. Just one game. Just one game. Let me get Kobe, Arcidiacono, Gafford, Thad Young, and who am I missing from that second unit? Denzel Valentine. If you wanna change it up and put Zach instead of Denzel, sure. If you want to put I wouldn't put Gafford and Wendell out at the same time, but just for one game, give me that second unit to start a game because I think it was the negative from this game is that the starters came out. They were not ready to play in this game. It took the second unit to come in. The second unit played way better than the first unit. It was a 22-6 run to pull us to 23-22. That was the last time I remember us not having the lead in this game, was going into from first quarter to second quarter, because then we took it from there, and it was just that. Then when the starters came in, kind of woke us up, and it's okay, we're ready to play. just for one game, I want to see the second unit and see what they can do to start a game. Or let me see what Kobe White can do in the starting lineup. Because, I mean, Chris Dunn is now in the starting lineup. Satoransky, I know Stacey King had mentioned it, that on this team we haven't yet seen it. We've seen flashes. In the Atlanta Hawks game, we saw a flash of what Satoransky could do offensively, but he's had to do so much defensively. We haven't seen him fully unlocked on the offensive side. I don't know, just for one game, maybe against the Grizzlies, throw out the second unit. Just throw him out there, because in most people's eyes, we're not making the playoffs anyway, so really just throw them out there, see what they can do. Just a thought that I had in this one, because yet again, to start the game, the starters did not have it. Maybe that's them being on the road, back-to-back road games, so maybe that's it. Maybe it's not. It's just a thought that I had, probably one of the biggest negatives that I had in this game. And then kind of the other thing that I had in this is I actually got a Twitter question. I wanted to throw it up to you guys. This one coming from Christian Gomez. He asks me, at Ricky Widmer, if the Bulls do end up firing Jim Boylen at some point, do you think they should go and get Jeff Van Gundy or Roy Rogers? Because we talked on Superfans about Gar Forman being fired. I'll put that up there if I remember. It'll pop up and you guys can click on it and check it out. But the Jim Boylen discussion is never going to go away. In this game, too, it was kind of like, I didn't have a huge problem with Jim, but there was a same time, it's like, there's some things that he does where it's like, why do you do that? But when it comes to if we actually fired Jim, of the conversation of who would I want to replace him, Jeff Van Gundy's an interesting one, only because I don't know if I would want to hire him. And the only reason why is I have a fear that Van Gundy is too old for this NBA, that we'd almost be in the same problem as Boylen, just with a smarter head coach. And I know that's like, Ricky, you're contradicting yourself, but I wonder if Jeff Van Gundy, with his attitude, I'll say, how he would fit in this modern NBA. And with Roy Rogers, I know he's an assistant for us. I feel like if we went ahead and made him the head coach, it would just be doing almost the same thing that we did with Jim Boylen, where it's like, oh, you're on our bench. Let's see what you're going to do. I don't trust anybody on this coaching staff, because yes, the defense has been good, but the offense has been so bad this year at times, so where it's like, I don't know if I trust anybody on that coaching staff right now. So like Roy Rogers is one that kind of makes me go, I shy away just because he's on our bench. If you were asking me like who were my dream candidates, obviously I know that Sam, one of our patrons, put in the Discord that we're in, $1 tier on Patreon gets you into that Discord. He put an article from Da Windy City of the Fansided Network, and they did an article of 6 potential replacements. Some of them, like they mentioned Jeff Van Gundy, they mentioned Roy Rogers. They also mentioned everyone's favorite. It's kind of like everyone's favorite dad when you talk about this, Mark Jackson. He's always brought up in these conversations. And the one on that list that I think would be my pipe dream that would never happen is Roy Williams. And the reason why I say that is because of the connection to Kobe White. But I'm well aware that's never going to happen. Roy Williams is never going to leave UNC. Coach K is never going to leave Duke. They're going to retire at those respective schools. And if Roy Williams is the only one, I could see maybe doing a Mac Brown thing of, oh, I leave and retire, but I'm not done, then comes back. I don't think that happens, but I wouldn't be surprised if it did. I think Roy Williams retires with the Tar Heels. The one that was interesting from that article is, first off, I would go to the college ranks. That's what I would do. Unless there's an assistant out there, unless you really like Dave Yeager and want to give him a chance, I would go to the college ranks because our team is so young. Jay Wright, I think, is an interesting one, mainly because Villanova isn't exactly what they had been 2 years ago, and then some. They've kind of fallen off a little bit from the championship teams that we were used to seeing, but they're still a good team. He would be an interesting one. I just don't know. I don't think he would leave Villanova, but I think there's a better chance of him leaving Villanova than Roy Williams. The one that I would look into is Tony Bennett at Virginia. And the reason why I say that is he was in the talk for jobs last year. I think he interviewed for the Milwaukee Buck job when it was up before last season. So not this past offseason, but the one before it. Interviewed before they had hired Coach Bud, and he's one I would go after. I mean, he's one that out of the college coaches I could see as the next guy making the jump into the college ranks. The other one I wouldn't be against, but I don't think the Bulls would pull it is, and this is me just throwing it out there to see what you guys think, maybe give Becky Hammon a go. Like, this is a team that really, I don't think there's obviously bad options, but I think this is a team, we need someone that can develop young talent. That's what we need. We don't need a guy like Steve Kerr who can step in and take a team from here to championship. You either go two things. You either go with the Mark Jackson-like route, and I use my air quotes because I'm not really saying Mark Jackson. I'm just saying that type of role of like either the guy that's going to come in, develop your young talent for the next guy to take it to the next step, or you go out and find your Brad Stevens-like coach, the guy who, hey, he's got the stuff to get a team to the playoffs. He's a good head coach, and he works well with young talent. I would go on the second side of that. I would go and find your coach that can work with young talent and be that guy to grow them into a playoff team and can still turn it on and get them to a championship. Like, Brad Stevens was so close to an NBA Finals. Do they beat the Warriors? Probably not, but they were close. If it wasn't for that young team kind of sputtering out at the end and really LeBron James taking over, that team should have been a finals team. And I think Brad Stevens is a really good coach. That's what I do. I find my Brad Stevens. Tony Bennett could be that guy. Hell, Jay Wright could even be that guy. But I think that guy is in college, not in the NBA. I know they also mentioned like a Jerry Stackhouse in that article. I don't know if I would go with a guy like Stackhouse or a former player. I would go to the college ranks, find the right head coach, because Hoiberg, I know many people are going to say, oh, but we did that with Hoiberg and it didn't work. I don't think Hoiberg was the right, like, number one, we didn't give Hoiberg the proper chance. Number two, I don't know if Hoiberg was the right guy to bring in from college. I think Hoiberg would have worked a lot better in college, and that's obviously why he went back to college and he's at Nebraska right now. But that's going to do it for this one. We play the Grizzlies tonight. We'll see how that game goes. I think we've got an extended home game stretch coming up, so that should be good for our team. Next two games should be winnable games, but like Stacy said, the Bulls can't really overlook anybody that's coming to the UC. But let me know what you guys think down below about anything I talked about, and questions, make sure to hit me up on Twitter at Ricky Widmer. I'll feature them here just like I did with Christians, and both you and I, Bulls fans, Christian, all of us get to talk about it, get to answer some questions, and get to talk about the Bulls, which I love to talk about each and every day, each and every game. But I want to thank you guys for watching. Check out patreon.com/mostvaluablepodcast to help us. And as always, have a good day, everybody.